Welcome to D&D with a twist. How do you do? I'm Antonio D'Amico, and this is the show where I take a D&D thing, maybe it's a class, maybe it's a race, maybe it's a monster, and maybe it's something else, give you the 411 on what that thing is, and I give that thing a different spin, a new take, a new twist, if you will. It's like, you know in shows when they do that thing when the clothes change, like super quick, like a quick change? Yeah. Like that. I'm slowly but steadily running out of things to compare this show to, oh god. So when I think of Rangers, I think of... Ranger is the class for Doomsday Preppers and Horse Girls. Okay, so first things first, I gotta do the thing. Ranger. Bad. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, you guys. You guys are terrific. Thank you. Like teenage boys after watching one too many Bear Grylls shows, Rangers are the survival experts of the D&D world. They are the love child of druids and fighters, inheriting the druids' love of nature and the fighters' love of hitting stuff real hard. Rangers are famous for a bunch of things, so they are hard to define. They are really good hunters, following tracks, finding monsters and beasties and killing them. But don't get it twisted. These hippies love nature and their goal is to protect the wilderness from monsters and people encroaching on the lands to build strip malls or something. Like in the Hannah Montana movie?
Old man Crowley died and left the town the meadows, but we don't exactly have enough for the taxes, so I've been helping organize a fundraiser or two.
Pop it, lock it, polka dot it.
Rangers don't bring the highest DPS to the table by a long shot, and they don't bring the most utility either, but they sure are versatile. They get spells, some nature-themed skills, and they get a metric ton of abilities. A whole bunch. Oh boy. Let's take a look. Favored enemy lets you pick a type of enemy, like beasts, undead, dragons, a countess from Ohio, your own mother, and become better at tracking them. You can pick humanoid races, so you could be, like in theory, a ranger that specializes in sniffing out goblins. Seems strange. Anyway, you also gain a language if you pick a favored enemy that speaks a language you don't know.
You dare speak to me in that tone of voice, boy?
I'm not gonna lie, Chief, this is a weird-ass feature. I guess it could be good if you play a campaign when you're constantly tracking the same type of enemy. Like, I don't know, picking Fiend as your favorite enemy in a health-themed campaign? Maybe? From what I've seen when playing with Rangers, this barely comes up. If ever. Fortunately, you can replace this ability with Favorite Foe, which just lets you pick one enemy in the battlefield and say fuck you specifically to them. You inflict more damage with every attack against that specific guy. Much more useful, but it makes it feel like the Ranger is more of an assassin than a hunter and a tracker. Continuing the theme of Rangers being picky, Natural Explorer lets you pick a natural environment where you are king. You choose a terrain you feel most at home with. The forest, the desert, the Walmart parking lot at 4 a.m. on a Tuesday, and you get an insane amount of bonuses when you are in that terrain, like difficult terrain not being a thing for you, not being able to get lost, always being able to find a parking spot, everything you could think of. This ability sort of has the same issue as Favorite Enemy in that it's only useful when you're in that specific terrain, but the bonuses you get are way better. Oh, and you can also replace this one apparently with something called Deft Explorer. With Deft Explorer, you get several stuff at different levels. At first level, you get an additional proficiency. At 6th level, your walking speed increases. At 10th level, you give yourself extra temp HP. As you can see, this is less situational, but much like Favorite Foe, it kind of loses the flavor of Ranger. Like if you told me this was a fighter subclass ability, I would believe you. At 2nd level, you get a fighting style, just like the fighter. Your choices are archery, bow and arrow, throwing the arrow with the bow, throwing the bow with the arrow, underwater basket weaving, and fine. Guess you can pick something other than bows. Why are you playing a ranger then? You also get spellcasting, although you are a half caster, which means you get one spell slot and a half every 72 hours or so. So use it wisely. Most of your spells are arrow themed and depend on you using a ranged weapon. Your spell list is also very, very small, but you do get healing spells. So that's something to rub in the wizard's face next time they make fun of you. And then you get 8 other abilities. Jesus Christ. And those abilities have optional abilities too? I don't have time for this. Lightning round. Primeval Awareness, Spidey Sense but make it worse. Tells you if enemies are nearby but not how many or where. Primal Awareness, oh god, another optional ability. Gets you more spells at certain levels. Less situational but less rangery, so pick your poison. Landstride, makes you really good at walking through plants and also good at avoiding magical plants. I'm sure this will come up a lot in your games. Hide in plain sight. You smear yourself with whatever you can find in the gardening section of Home Depot to give you a boost to stealth. A la PETA Hunger Games. This comes with 1,000 caveats though, so good luck using it. Nature's Veil. Oh god, again? Jeez. An optional feature to replace the previous one. This one just makes you flat out invisible until your next turn. Less situational but less rangery, you get it. Feral Senses. Allows you to attack a creature you can't see without disadvantage and lets you see invisible creatures within 30 feet. This one is pretty cool actually. Good job. And finally, oh god, finally, at level 20, you get your capstone ability, Foe Slayer, which adds your wisdom mod to all your damage rolls against your favorite enemy. And that's it. Those are all of them. Thank you, Lord, we made it. Whew, boy. Those are all the 372 abilities for Rangers. That's a lot of abilities, and a lot of optional abilities to replace those abilities. Almost as if the core idea behind the class is either not very clear or doesn't lend itself well to the game. So if while I was going through all those abilities, the only thing you could think of is, wait, aren't Rangers the ones with the animals? Well, you were sort of correct. They are, or rather they were. Rangers in 5th edition do get an animal companion, but only if you pick a certain subclass. These subclasses are called Ranger Conclaves. One second. Oh, okay. Okay. Anyway, let's take a look at a couple of these Ranger VIP rooms. First up, the Beastmaster Conclave.
Veganism. Companionship. Love.
The Beastmaster is the Ranger subclass that lets you have an animal companion. In this subclass, you make friends with a little beast and it sort of becomes your little Pokemon. Oh man, wouldn't it be neat if someone made a video about how to make Pokemon into D&D? That'd be cool. Anyway, this subclass is all about fighting alongside your animal companion. Your little beast goes into battle with you and grows stronger as you become stronger too, gaining hit points, damage, and AC as your proficiency bonus increases. The biggest problem about this one is that you have to use your entire action to command it. So if your beast is attacking, you're not attacking on the same turn until you get an extra attack. And that's not until you reach level 5. I'm assuming that before then you just have to stand there and yell at your dog to bite the thing in front of it, like you're some sort of fantasy Ash Ketchum. Also, another issue is that, well, your beast has less HP than you, and it's in the thick of battle, so, you know, accidents can happen. But don't worry, you can just go into the forest and replace your companion with whatever random animal crosses your path first. Completely interchangeable. Great. Honestly, I get why this is like this, because if your companion dies, it's not like you can just give up on having a subclass, but it does make the whole animal friend that grows with you and fights alongside you as your comrade part ring a little hollow if you can just grab the nearest subway rat and turn it into a death machine during your lunch break. And that's it. That's the Beastmaster Ranger. Moving on to the wait. No way. Another optional ability in a subclass? Okay, so Primal Companion is basically the same thing, except your animal companion is not an animal, but like a nature spirit. Honestly, this one is straight up a Pokemon, but it does fix the whole beast dies and gets replaced by a random creature part by making your companion a sort of spirit that you can bring back to life with a spell slot or just summon again after a while like a familiar. This does make it feel more like a druid thing than a ranger thing, but that's just basically true of all the optional abilities, so at least it's on theme. Aside from all the weirdness around death and the whole wait until level 5 for you and your companion to attack at the same time, the subclass is really fun. Your beast does get stronger, getting magical attacks, multiple attacks, and even sharing your spells, which makes it a bit more useful than whatever animal the party has decided to torture this week by making it their pet.
How much is that dog in the window? I do hope that dog is for sale.
All in all, it does feel very rangery. Another very interesting subclass that sort of plays with the animal companion theme is the Swarm Keeper.
Ma, they following me, Ma. They following me.
Who following
These the books.
This one is more magic themed, having some strong witch vibes. You're basically able to summon a swarm of spirits that take the form of insects or birds or any tiny creature you want. They envelop you and help you in battle, giving you some huge bonuses like extra damage, the ability to straight up be pushed 15 feet away in any direction, or to move you 5 feet without attacks of opportunity. You also get extra debuffing spells at certain levels. At one point, your swarm can actually give you a flying speed. You get half cover by being enveloped by the swarm. You can knock creatures prone when you attack them. And at level 15, you attain full gross insect witch powers and are basically able to dissipate into your swarm and reform away from the enemy. It's really cool. This one is awesome. Of course, there are many others. The Gloomstalker.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
The Drake Warden.
How to Train Your Dragon.
The Monster Slayer. And the Fey one. So we've looked at Ranger abilities, Ranger subclasses, and all that is well and good, mostly. But what if we gave Rangers a new twist? So you want to make a Ranger?
I'm in the interior of the vast Pennsylvania wilderness. I am totally alone right now.
Rangers are bow-wielding hippies that want you to get out of their lawn. Rangers are also confused. Get ready, children, because it's time for Antonio's opinion. I think that Rangers out of all the D&D classes are both one of the least distinct and most niche. Rangers are a mishmash of like 5 different concepts, whereas the other classes tend to be one very straightforward idea. Wizards are studious magic practitioners, bards cast magic through performance, fighters hit stuff real good, but Rangers, well, it's less defined. Some people think animal companion, but not all people. It's not even the core feature. Some people think bows, but not all people. It's not even required. Some people think forest dweller, but not all people. Once again, it's not even a requirement. No Ranger embodies all of these, or is a spin on all of these. They are a mix of widely different concepts rather than a solid, simple idea. It feels like rather than starting from an archetype to create the class, they started with like a fictional character in mind. Like the thought process was more, wouldn't it be cool to play Aragorn, rather than, wouldn't it be cool to play this type of character? And I think that that's why people don't connect as easily with the class and feel like the current iteration of the Ranger class is bad, because whatever Wizards of the Coast writes for Rangers will match what some people see Rangers at, but not everybody, because nobody can agree as to what a Ranger is exactly. It's just a bunch of small concepts in the rough shape of a class. I think this also shows in the design of the class, because most of the things Rangers can't do, another class can just do better. This confusion is also extremely apparent in the amount of optional abilities that replace other abilities. It feels like the designers had a hard time committing to one idea, because there's not one idea to commit to. The Ranger is just a bunch of very different ideas mashed into the shape of a class. I also think that the baseline idea of a Ranger is not very well suited for actually playing D&D. Let me explain. Rangers defend a specific natural place, as in a forest, and 99% of the time is a forest. Notice that I didn't say Rangers defend nature, because they don't. It's a specific place, a specific forest, a specific mountain, a specific Denny's parking lot. But in D&D, you generally don't stay in one specific place for very long. You travel, you go on adventures, you move. That's why all those Ranger abilities feel situational, because they're tied to a specific place, not to something the Ranger can do. I think this is also why it's kind of hard to get a Ranger character out of the place they have to defend. The options are limited. Raise your hand if you have played a Ranger that had to leave their forest because some evil magic was killing the trees or whatever. Thought so. So what is a poor Ranger to do? Well, it's obvious. Give it a twist. Let's start by making a Ranger using the existing class and subclasses that deviates from the Ranger norm that you can use as an NPC or inspiration for your next character. What if we took the Swarm Keeper and made it spooky? Ever since he was little, the children in the village made fun of Grigori and called him a vampire, living as the noble heir in a derelict castle on top of a cliff surrounded by dark forests did not help much in dispelling the vampire rumors. His dead mother having been an actual honest-to-God vampire before she died also didn't help things much either. While not a true vampire, his mother's vampiric blood gave Grigori specific gifts, the most obvious being the swarm of bats that follows him around constantly. Initially terrified of them, Grigori came to see his bats and the undead servants of his mother's ancestral castle as his only friends. One night, a blood-red bat flew into Grigori's room through the open window. He had only seen a red bat once before, in the swarm that encircled his previously thought dead mother. Hiding his swarm of bats in his billowing cape and saying goodbye to the servants that had raised him since infancy, he set out with only one goal in mind: to find his mother and find out why she had abandoned him all these years. Make his swarm bats that fly around him and attack his enemies in combat, and safely hide in the underside of his cape when traveling. His swarm being bats also means he'll be able to do that cool thing vampires do in movies where they just dissolve into a swarm of bats. It's so cool. I want to do that. You could flavor his favorite enemy and other ranger abilities as his bats using echolocation to tell him information about the enemy or terrain. Give him a high wisdom because of his vampiric senses, high dex because of his enhanced vampiric reflexes, maybe decent to high intelligence because of that private school education, and a big fat negative charisma score because of that hikikomori shut-in backstory. And you're good. I haven't seen many vampiric rangers, so I would say this is a pretty fun twist. So we've done some stuff with what the ranger gives us. But what if we could incorporate the whole disjointed feel of the ranger into a brand new subclass that complements that design? What if we found something that is also a mishmash of very different concepts that have little to do with each other, but that match the ranger's selection of other unrelated concepts? Hear me out, cowboys. Okay, think about it. Wouldn't a cowboy subclass fit so well with the whole idea of rangers? Just as rangers are a mishmash of many different disparate concepts, cowboys are the same. Cowboys are known for their incredible marksmanship with ranged weapons, pistols, just like rangers are with their bows. They are known for their knowledge over animals, like rangers are, even if cowboys are more associated with horses and, well, cows. And they're both known for being amazing survivalists that have learned to adapt to harsh, unforgiving nature. It's a match made in heaven. A cowboy subclass could center its damaging abilities on being really good at guns, giving the often forgotten gun weapons the shine they deserve, and their utility abilities could be centered around taming beasts and maybe even using them as mounts, making it a shoo-in for that mounted combat feat. It'd be so cool. And guess what? I made it! The Cowboy Conclave is a new ranger subclass designed and illustrated by me that you can access right now for free in the description of this very video. Go and live your cowboy life in all of your D&D adventures, but never forget the cowboy code. Be rootin', be tootin', and by God be shootin', but most of all, be kind.
Pop it, lock it, polka dot it, country fighting, hip hop.
And welcome, partners, to the end of the video. This one was a tough one because I don't like rangers that much. I don't know, when I made the connection in my mind that cowboys and rangers had a lot in common, that's what made this video happen. I've tried the Cowboy Conclave and a bunch of little adventures here and there, and it's really fun, so I hope you like it. I think it's a cool mix of cowboy tropes and high fantasy D&D shenanigans. Like, how fun is it to have a magic cowboy that can't cast spells? Their capstone abilities to shoot magic bullets. Like, come on, that's cool, I think. I'm right, it is cool. I'm really happy with it, and I hope you are too. Oh, one cool thing that I'm planning is, you know I release every 2 weeks. I'm thinking about streaming during the week I don't release any videos. I thought it'd be really fun to go over D&D horror stories. You know, like people's horrible experiences at the table. We could have cool guests, we could read horror stories from chat, and we could give advice to see how not to fall in the same traps that made those experiences awful. Let me know if that sounds like something fun that you would like to see in the comments. And speaking of the comments, thank you so much, everybody. Literally no one, especially me, expected the super fast growth we've had here on the channel, and y'all have been so incredibly kind and supportive and cool. I really do mean it. Thank you so much. And, you know, keep it up because this is a ton of work and I still read every single comment, and I've been told by smarter YouTube people that comments and views and subscribing and all those things help the video. So please do that. That'll be cool if you did. Thank you so much for doing it to those that have. And I don't know, show me your favorite cowboy boomer emoji in the comments. That's all I had to say. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks for another round of D&D mess. Be kind to the horse girls in your life. Be careful when horse riding. The little girl in Gone with the Wind died because of it, so, you know, be careful. What a weird way to end the video. Anyway, mwah!